Hi everyone, I am here today with Ling, who is another teacher with the Reiki Center, and she also has a huge and amazing background in all kinds of things. So she's going to talk a little bit about herself in a moment, and we're going to do what we always do. We're just going to have a little chit chat around Reiki and the Reiki journey through different people. So very warm welcome to you, Ling.
Hey, Ling. Nice to be here.
So it's so lovely to have you on board. So do you want to give us a little brief insight, like a little update in terms of where you've come from before? I don't mean where you've come from, obviously, but kind of like your whole journey, career journey or past or
Um,
whatever. Yeah, your background.
uh, okay. Maybe just talk a little bit when I'm younger. Actually, I have been very drawn since young to um, everything that is spiritual. So looking at the body, spirit, and mind, anything, always very curious about that. And then growing up, I've been very sensitive to energy. So knowing of people's feelings sometimes or certain presence or that. So that's how I grew up with. But not knowing though, being sensitive to energy sometimes can be quite overwhelming.
Mm.
So not knowing how to manage all that. So there's a lot of fear in my life. Like how to manage all this. So life has it that yeah, it just brought me one to another, different modality, but I came to Reiki. It's so interesting. I experienced Reiki at a wellness center and thinking, oh, this is lovely. It's so relaxing, and I wanted to learn it just for my digestive systems, But little did I know that it has unfolded into a personal growth journey, really a journey where I really embrace myself, embrace who I am, basically. Yeah.
Amazing. So you kind of thought, oh, this might help my tummy. Did you have like IBS? Like what was going on?
Yeah. I have that a lot of digestive issues. Yeah, IBS is one of them. Yeah. I thought
Yeah.
like, maybe that helps a little, and then like, ooh, wow, as I go through the different levels, ooh,
It's like going to the
that's right.
doctors, right? And taking Gaviscon or something and then realizing Gaviscon actually has a whole spiritual dimension.
Oh yeah, tell me about that.
Brilliant.
Really. Yeah.
So I know that you've come from quite a kind of corporate background, if you like.
Oh yeah,
So
very much.
how has that kind of transition been?
Oh, because I'm quite different because I'm very sensitive to energy. So I was trying to fit in actually as I grew up and even fitting into the corporate world. So trying very hard to be normal. So you know what I mean? It's like, okay, all right, yes, I send this, but I won't go around. So I have been actually throughout all these years working well in the corporate world, but really hiding the truth me. The one who would be sensing energy, who would be able to. So I have not been really very um, authentic about myself until I really come to do Reiki, really, really embracing it, looking at different stuff, and then coming and saying, hey, this is me. This is really me and my uniqueness, and this is who I am. So the whole journey of really embracing myself.
That's really interesting. So going back to the corporate stuff, because I think a lot of people will probably resonate with this, right? Whereby we go, because I was the same. So you go into the corporate track because that's what's expected. Like when I was growing up, it was like you go to uni and then you get a good job, like hopefully something on a management track, and you start and you're in some kind of management. What do they call them now? Like the management fast track, right? Or something. And you go and you
Yeah.
climb up the ladder. And then, as you say, you start to get really sensitive to the energy and the politics, right? So uncomfortable. So what was some, like when you say that you were trying to be normal, but you could feel the energy, what kind of stuff, how did that manifest for you? What?
I guess it's overwhelming feelings because sometimes when you are in a meeting, actually I would sometimes sense maybe someone say something, but I actually have a knowing that means different thing. So and then sometimes it can be quite overwhelming. And sometimes but I base on this intuition to do my decision. So sometimes I recommend to my bosses, oh, this is a proposal, and they go like, oh, how do you know? I'll say, I just know, but I can't quite explain. Yeah. So that's one way of navigating, but the other way is really feeling very overwhelming, especially office politics. Definitely, definitely. All the different emotions behind the words or the action that counts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was quite overwhelming for me. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. It's interesting actually, because what I find now going, because I'm only part-time now back in not really corporate, but back into the, what would you call, working industry, if you like. And it's what I find really tricky is when somebody is saying something, they mean something else. And there's like all that manipulation going on underneath, that they're trying to kind of gaslight you into thinking the same way, or trying to manipulate you into doing something. And it feels so uncomfortable
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
system, right? So it's really
Yeah. Yeah.
difficult. It's almost like you want to say, just be honest. Why are you trying to like gaslight me here, there, and ever? Just,
Oh, I say, I just want to say, I know what you meant actually, but I can't. Not that I can't, but yeah, it
yeah,
will not, it will be impolite to, I mean, we say that we don't go around messing up with like, oh, I know what's happening in your life kind of stuff, right? So,
yeah,
so I guess that's where the boundary is. I have also learned to take to draw the line, what's mine and what's others. So I don't bring back others people's stuff back home as well. Yeah, so that's something that I've learned well with the journey with Reiki. Yeah.
interesting.
It's like when you do Reiki, it's about also doing your own inner work, knowing what are my triggers and going back to where the triggers are, why it causes it. And then slowly I start to really move into so-called my power. Really is the boundary and all that. Well, it comes with it, as we do more of our own inner work and the practice of Reiki. That's why it's like, oh wow, it's like leading me to, well, a digestive issue, but leading up to more personal growth. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's interesting actually that the digestion was your gateway into Reiki, because obviously when you get into Reiki and all the chakras and things like that, you're like, oh yeah, the emotional body and the solar plexus is the kind of personal power. So it's
yeah,
funny how that personal power, in a sense, pushed you into Reiki, right?
yeah, yeah. Not knowing it, thinking just go and get some fixed up with the digestion issue, and that's it. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. So
Mhm.
so say more about personal power, because often I know in the new age, the personal growth field, it's all self-empowerment and personal power and all this stuff, but often we don't really talk about what that means. So when you say, oh, I came more into my power, like how did that feel like, and what were some examples of that?
Okay. It's like the first thing is really about dropping. Well, first of all, I worry a lot. I'm fearful a lot, and little things, my mind will start, running around and all that. But it's true with the practice of Reiki. I realized that how silly it's so interesting, because there's really once I was like, my mind really playing a lot of different tricks on me, and I worried myself truthfully just by reading an article in a newspaper. It's really silly, thinking that it will happen to me, and then I Reiki myself, and then suddenly, I just have this little awareness that, hey, what's going on? It's just my mind. It's just my mind playing tricks on me. And I start to laugh, because it's like how silly of me in the past. It's really the mind that is really playing tricks. So as I do more Reiki, the self-awareness become more. And then I really get less fearful, and not really worrying a lot more. And the other thing is also about dropping a lot of limiting beliefs. Maybe along the way as we grow up, we would have maybe our parents would tell us something, or our schools and all that. So we have limiting belief about ourselves. Maybe we're not good enough and all that. But as I move in this whole journey of Reiki, it's like peeling an onion. I thought I'm done with it actually, but then actually the more I do Reiki, the more I
The big
realize that
onion, right?
it's, yeah, wow. I was like, I'm done with it. I was like, look at, oh my God, it's right, it's deeper. It's so deep. But but the moment you do that and start looking at the issues and embracing it, it could be a ch a child, me at age of 8, and then I just go back and heal that. And then coming in, things will no longer trigger me anymore. And that's where, if you talk about coming into your power, it's really not being powerful over others. It's really about having in being present and being comfortable with yourself, and really being comfortable about maybe even the gifts that comes along. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting as you're talking because I'm kind of thinking that actually this idea of coming into your power is you're right. It's got nothing to do with power over somebody else, right? But it's that power to see um, that your thinking and your thoughts maybe don't have the power you give it to them. You get what I
Yeah,
mean by
yeah.
that, right?
Yes, I do, I
Like
do, I do, I
your
do, I do. Yeah.
power versus your thoughts power.
Yeah, 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 I
And
do. I'll
yeah,
agree.
it's really, as you're talking, I'm like, yeah, that's really true. And that's something that Reiki showed me as well. It's kind of like you can almost like you sink under all the thoughts and you can look at them and go, ooh, yeah, they're just thoughts. And some of them are not even mine. Like you say, they're from my parents and my school and my friends. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That
nice.
was powerful, especially if you're adult, like, in like I do it like even now, right? Like 30s, 40s, and 50s, like not knowing that we can actually do that. We can actually go back and heal, or doing that healing work. Because the more we we go in there and do that inner work, the more comfortable we are with ourselves, and then we'll be more aligned with ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
nice.
so yeah. Mm.
So, what are some of the biggest changes, I guess, that you've noticed in yourself when you say, so in the corporate world, you weren't very authentic and now you feel
Yeah.
more authentic? So, what are some of the shifts that you've noticed?
Well, I'm definitely happier.
Mm.
More joyful, definitely more joyful. It's so strange, but it is. Taking the plunge, it's not really taking the plunge. The decision to come out to be who I am, embracing myself fully, that was really quite a relief, yeah, in a way, because I was trying very hard to fit in to what other people would think I should be in the normal world, in a way. So, but well, I have to use the normal world
Normal world.
because,
So,
yeah,
what world are
we are
you in
normal world
now?
was, yeah, not so normal world. No, no, no. It's really coming in to definitely more joyful, and and I now no longer plan too much. In fact, I don't plan. Actually, just go with the flow. And it's so amazing when I trust, really trust the universe. Things just unfold. And it's like, oh, okay, like I started teaching, and not knowing that slowly that people will come and knock the door to say, can you do Chinese? Can we teach in Chinese? Like, oh no, way. But I did. It's like, whoa, whoa, I can do that. I didn't know that. So it's really now going on with the flow, and to me the path will just come. So that's the biggest difference.
That's just so cool.
Going to that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it really is that whole thing. Like when we get to Reiki 3, right? And we say to our students, it's like, okay, when you come to Reiki 3, it's like Reiki 1 and Reiki 2, you still feel like you're in control. You're the one giving Reiki, you're the one sending Reiki, you're the one working with Reiki. And then when you hit Reiki 3 and you enter into the world of Reiki, or you immerse yourself, then Reiki starts to come through you and you become just a channel for life force, right? And then what you're saying is the unfolding of that process, whereby now it's like you're just the unfolding, and then whatever comes towards you, you meet the challenge. Because I remember when you were first like, oh my God, people want Reiki in Chinese. I can't do that. And I was like, no, you can. Otherwise, they wouldn't be standing in front of you. That's the amazing thing, right? Is you realize
Yes.
that everything that comes towards you is meant for you, or it wouldn't be there.
Yes. Yes. Now I do realize that. I mean, like 6 months ago, I wouldn't know. Like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really very beautiful. So of course, when I tell students just trust, student goes like, what if it doesn't turn out the way I want it to be? Then
Mm.
how would I trust? So now therein lies again checking in with our ego. So that's something that we still need it. I feel as long as we are human in this life, we still need it. But it's a matter of balancing it,
Yeah.
noticing your ego, yeah,
Yeah.
observing it, yeah,
But that's a really
yeah.
good question. So how do you like if some or even yourself, if you're
Mhm.
saying, okay, I just need to trust this, but I have a very strong desire for it to go one way and not the other, what do you
Oh,
say?
okay, I have to tell you this. So after Reiki 3, I thought that I know what's my true path is. So actually, I went on to do a course in aging because I love seniors so much, right? So when I do the course, and I thought, this is it. I knew it. I know this is the course. But it's interesting how the universe will actually bring me to, the circumstances, the environment to realize that, hey, this is not really truly you because I'm still trying to fit into that mold of others. Uh, Still trying to figure out, but still trying to fit the mold. But it's only eventually when I really come out and embrace myself to say, okay, I'm unique. I have special, maybe I do have gifts that is being sensitive, and this will help in my Reiki healing. I embrace who I am. And then the moment I do this and I really let go, well, we call it surrender, but a lot of people don't like the word surrender because they feel that it's not doing anything.
Mm.
um, I feel that's a bit different. It's not about not doing anything. It's really about fully trusting when the opportunity comes, you still need to put in the effort to do whatever you need to do. Otherwise, it won't, right? It's not going to be, all right, I surrender and then snap and then things will happen. No, it's not going to happen that way. Never.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So when you say that you took the course, so you took the course on aging, but it still wasn't fully authentic. How did that feel? I'm really curious around authenticity because I know a lot of people, they'll be like, okay, I want to be more authentic, but I don't know actually what that means, right?
So so it's about actually for me personally, when I'm doing things like teaching Reiki now, right? First of all, things just come so naturally. It's interesting. I don't need to, how do I put it? I don't need to really do a lot of stuff. It becomes naturally, and what I've accumulated all these years, my experience, my interest, my curiosity over body, spirit, and mind, all this will come in naturally as I teach or as I give my treatment, and I feel joyful. There is so much joy. I can't quite explain that,
Yeah.
but it's
Oh, I
it's
think you did. I think you
yeah,
explained it perfectly, actually. So it's kind of that feeling of ease. Yeah.
yes,
Beautiful.
yes,
Yeah. No, you explained
yeah,
it perfectly. That is really good. So if you're noticing that there's resistance or tension
yeah.
or pushing,
Mhm.
probably not in your flow.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. But then some people would say, oh, well, I'm then in that case, I'm just going to sit on my sofa like a blancmange because that's easy. What
Then
would
I
you
would
say to them?
ask, do you feel joyful?
Yeah, maybe they do. Maybe they're like, yes, I do.
Like, okay, here I am. I'm waiting. Where is it? What do I want? It's not happening. So then your mind start engaging
Mm.
and start thinking that this is what I want. It's not coming. Where is it? And all that. It's just when we teach about Reiki labels, right? So then we talk about do not attach to outcome because like information and all. Oh, it's not happening. I said it and then I'm not happy. What's wrong?
Yeah.
And stuff like that, right? It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's like I'm surrendering to the flow. Where's my stuff? Where is it? Where is it all? I'm surrendered. I'm
exactly,
surrendered.
exactly, exactly. Mm.
That's so true. Yeah. So it's still the doing. There's still a doing. There's still
Yeah.
an activity. And the way that often I see it is just kind of like you're sometimes with authenticity, there is this subtle navigating the compass in the right direct, like, does this feel more ease and flow? And ease is not the same as easy,
Yeah.
right?
No, absolutely.
Not the same. It's like, okay, now you're going to teach in Chinese. You're like, oh, so there's the shock of it. It's not easy, but there is a sense of natural next step in that, right?
Yes,
Mm.
yes. I somehow feel supported. It's like when I was looking for resources and to do the translation, and a kind soul really has offered to suddenly just pop out of nowhere, and then it said, "Oh, I have this manual. You might want to go look at it." And all, it's like, "Oh, wow, it's really." So I really trust that as I say yes, and then things will slowly unfold.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. So, okay, so that's really good. So we've had a good old chit chat around authenticity and around flow. And what other things would you say have kind of occurred to you as you've been going through this journey?
One of the things for me, Reiki to me, it has been a great resource in terms of my own caregiving. Like my mom and then even my late aunt uh, passed away a year ago. So that has been really a great resource because sometimes running in and out of the hospital, it can be tiring, and I'm Reiki myself. And it's not only physically, but emotionally as well as can be draining. So Ricky has been that resource to give it to me. And I think for me, one of the biggest turning point was during my aunt transition, when I sent her Reiki during her transition. In my mind's eye, I gladly saw, I'm really very happy to see my late grandmother, my aunt's mom, and my aunt's sister-in-law, my auntie was here present to probably help her with the transition. That helped me a lot in terms of my own grief and also seeing her nicely transited. So I'm really very thankful for that in terms of the resource that Reiki has been for me.
And
Yeah.
has this always been like one of your gifts that you can see those at the on the other side?
Yes, and it's only it gets stronger when I do Reiki though. When I do treatment, I used to sense, so but now I sometimes see them. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Interesting. That's really
Mm.
nice. So do you have a particular belief around what happens on the other side?
I actually have no idea, but I'm happy to see her loved ones coming and
Yeah.
bring her to wherever needs to be. And that's really it's always about my mom will always ask like, oh, aunt will be lonely, she's by herself. And I don't know, well, she's not. I mean, and because she's really well taken care to be transited and probably back to the spirit world, I guess.
Mm,
Yeah. Mm.
interesting. I think you're right though. It gives a lot of comfort, right?
Yeah.
When you see that. It is interesting. I've worked, well, as you know, I worked in with the
Yeah.
hospice, and the
Mm.
amount of times that this would happen to me as well. I'd walk into a room and it would just be filled with light and energy beings, right? And then I would know immediately. I was like, they're going to transit in the next couple of days because it's like
Mm.
the welcoming party has
Yeah,
arrived.
on the other side.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. And it does. It
Yeah.
fills you with such joy, and it lessens the fear in your
Yeah.
own transition, right? Like
Definitely.
I just
Definitely.
I'm not that afraid of it anymore. And then it just also just allows you to feel a great deal of comfort for the
Yeah,
person that's transiting, right?
very much. Very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and
That's
then now I'm
beautiful.
curious, right? If I'm transiting, who will come?
Yeah.
Who will be in my welcome party?
I'm expecting my dog.
Me too.
My dog better be there or there'll be trouble.
The dog, the dog will be, oh, I'm too busy.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm too busy with my spirit family. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's so cool. So, what do you feel in terms of like now when you've because you have been and since I've known you very interested in the world of aging, and so what how are you feeling that that's unfolding for you now?
I guess it's really because as we grow old, actually there might even be fear of growing old.
Yeah.
Well, among us, actually you don't need to. With Reiki as a resource, if we are growing old, it's a natural process. So our body will age and we will have pain and all. But I think with Reiki, it's really about having that resource going back where you will feel comfort and age, embrace aging as well, nicely and happily. So, but you might still have ache and pain, but again, it's really fully being comfortable with yourself, your body, and your own aging. And also, it will prepare us on our transition subsequently. Because once you have no fear of death, then it's really about living life fully here now as we are.
Mm.
So that's how I feel Reiki as a resource. And of course, Reiki is definitely a good resource for caregiver. I mean, having gone through caregiving myself, I think it's really it's when I'm tired, emotionally, physically, I can go back to Reiki, really to bring me back to that relaxed state and get more energized. And then I start my whole next day again as part of my caregiving. Yeah. Mm.
So what kind of advice would you give for people who are struggling with aging? Because it's funny actually, I was at a and I've noticed this a lot in the work that I do, is that when people hit their 70s, it seems to be more around the 70s, right? Because you hopefully, if you're lucky, you've remained quite fit and healthy in your 50s, even in your 60s. A lot of people will lead a very healthy lifestyle and they won't really get a lot of aches and pains, though some people do. So I'm not, it's a range, right? But wherever
Yeah.
you start to notice your aging, and for some
Mm.
people that might be in their 50s, some people in their 60s, some people, right up into their 70s, and you start to really notice your mortality, I guess, right? Where you're
Mm.
like,
Mm.
oh, I'm really aging. And you start to really notice the skin and the muscles, like you say, the aches, the pains, the arthritis, like all the stuff starts to really kick in. Your brain starts to slow down. And then for many people, they would then, if they've had quite a successful career, for example, and they've been running the rat race and they've been doing all the politics, and suddenly they stop and they're just faced with there's no more there's no more props, like there's no politics anymore to distract yourself, or there's no, and all those layers of so-called success that we're sold on, that you have to do this and achieve this, and it's all gone, right? And so now you're stuck inside a body that is in pain and obviously in decline. I'm painting the whole picture here because then people really hit mental health issues, right? Like big
Yeah.
mental health issues, because it's
Yeah.
suddenly like their body is clearly in decline now. The golden years are over. And for many of them, it hits around the same time as retirement, whereby you're supposed to look forward to it, but it rips away a lot of your identity and your
Yeah.
roles and stuff like that. So then you're kind of left with actually something that you figured out. And in a sense, myself also, like we realized we weren't being authentic much, much younger. And so you're suddenly you're in your late 60s and you're like, I don't even know who I am. Like who am I? What am I? What's my
Mm.
authentic self? So
Mm.
any tips for those people?
I guess it's really about, first of all, if you're alone and afraid, right? I mean, I'm just normal aging, because loneliness is really quite a big issue with as we age, especially if we stay alone. So that's something that you might want to seek company, but also to seek your own company,
Mm.
because it's really about, if you don't know where to start, you can just do a little by just knowing yourself. Maybe just looking at what you have done in your life. So do a life review of what your great achievements you have and not, and where are the stuff that you want to amend or to do better or make you happier. I always say that do things that make your heart sing. As I used to hear this in the past and not understanding it, but really now coming where I am, yeah, it's that easy. All you need to do is really go inside and just do things that make your heart sing, make you just feel that joy inside first. Then slowly, then when you have the resource, you want to go in to do your own inner healing and all. Yeah, why not? Um, as we age, right? I always feel that once we hit our 65, it's another beginning. Really, it's really the beginning of the new it's not the end actually. As we progress, that's how I see it. It's really about doing things that really, because now we don't have all the responsibility, and then anyway we're too old to really care about what people think of us anyway. So then that's where you start to really do things that is more aligned with yourself, to make yourself more happy. If you want to be more healthy, just take little step to do that. And if you need resources that comes in, then Reiki would be a very good resource to help you to do that, to find the inner peace that we have. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I like that way of putting it, that you could see it as a new phase without all those responsibilities and all the kind of different roles that we've used before. And then in a sense, like I do think for a lot of people, it might be quite scary, right? It's like, okay,
Yes.
now you're really looking inwards at what, like you say, what makes your heart sing, what makes you feel good about life. What are the simple,
Yeah.
sometimes it's the simplest things, you
Yes.
know, just having the
Yes.
whole day stretched out and you can just fill it with whatever you want. Go for a walk, just
Yeah.
enjoy. And when you're walking, it's not, I'm walking for exercise, trying to get my 10,000 steps in. It's actually just walking for the joy of walking and seeing what you see. And yeah, so it can be really embraced as well, right? As a
And also maybe as we walk, we discover new things that we have not known, maybe in the park, or the beauty of how nature has actually provided for us all this while that we didn't even notice.
yeah,
And when you go in to see that beauty, that we have all around, the nature with us, then maybe something resonates with you, within you. And that's where the joy comes.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's all simple joy.
I love that. Simple joy. So simple.
Simple joy, like eating an ice cream and or biting a new toy or a little like Minions toy and stuff. I got mine today.
Is that, is that your joy? A Minions toy?
Yeah, so that's for today. For today, yes.
Love it. So wrapping up, you have so obviously you are teaching Reiki in Chinese now. Yeah, in Mandarin. Let's be precise here,
Yes.
right?
Okay, Mandarin. Yes, yes.
Mandarin. Cantonese coming.
We'll see.
Hokkien.
If
We'll see.
Hokkien cannot have Hokkien, I have to brush out my dialect. Cantonese, may
Cantonese possible?
possible.
Ah, okay. We'll
Yeah.
put that in as well. If you're a Cantonese speaker listening to this, English, clearly. And from in Singapore, we didn't say you're in Singapore, did we? Oops. Inling's in Singapore. And also doing healing, right?
Yes, I'm
As
also doing
well.
healing. Yes,
Doing
yes,
healing.
that's right.
And then what other things, like would you be interested or open to doing Reiki in like old folks' homes? Do they call them old folks' homes? That just seems like a weird
Yeah, I
term.
think nursing home now. I think
Nursing home.
well, some of them still do old folks home. Yeah, I would be interested definitely to do because I just because I grew up in my grandparents, so I have this whole affinity with older adults. Yeah, yeah,
Ah,
quite good. So yeah, I would love to. Yeah,
yeah.
if they are open to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Or
Amazing.
any caregiver who would be interested in learning Reiki just for themselves or even for their loved ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, we haven't really
Mhm.
touched on that, but that is,
Mm,
yeah, that's a wonderful idea, isn't it? Like
mm.
for carers at home with loved ones and things like that. It's like such a difficult job.
Mm. It is.
Really,
It
really
is.
difficult
It's
because
very
you're also
demanding.
because you're going through your own grieving process as well, right?
Yes.
Watching that your loved ones
Yes. Mm.
getting ready
Yeah.
for transition. It's
Yes.
a lot. Yeah, it
It's a
really
lot.
is.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
that'd be
Yeah. So
amazing.
Reiki will
And
help. Yeah.
yeah, oh, you're right. Reiki's amazing. And not only that,
Yeah.
but you can also Reiki your loved ones. So it's
Yeah. Yeah.
double thing,
Yeah.
right? You Reiki yourself, and then you also help your loved ones as well with
Mm.
their passing. Really
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I think there's a huge opportunity there to be so helpful
Mm.
for people.
Mm.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun, and we have covered so much ground.
Really?
I told
Wow.
you we could talk for this long. You're like, oh, we can't talk for this long. I'm like, yeah, we
Yeah.
can. Oh, it's been such a pleasure, as always, talking with you. You really do. You radiate out this beautiful joy. It's just so lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I really hope you enjoyed doing this as well. And
Well, I had fun.
yeah, we
I
will
had
speak
so much
soon.
fun. Thanks.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I don't even know what to call this episode. I'm like, oh my God, we've just covered like so much different topics. Anyway,
All
never
over.
mind.
Yeah.
We will wrap it up. I will rack my brains as to what to call it. And I hope everyone enjoyed it. And if you want to get hold of Ling, then the information is going to be below so that you can get in contact with her. Lots of love, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks, Ling. Bye.